So I just got a response to a comment I left on a YouTube post. So it wasn't a video, it was just like one of those posts that has like a photo and text and stuff. It'd be like something on Facebook. So it basically was talking about unusual punishments, and I made a comment about grades, and this young person came on and responded, and I just want you guys to listen to this and take it in. So I don't know if you're a millennial, if you're a teen, if you're a parent, whatever, but I want people to reflect on the amount of pressure that is on both gifted and challenged individuals. And sometimes those individuals are the same. And I'm here to tell you, I'm one of those individuals. When I was in high school, I took AP classes, and I also went to special education classes. I have technically 3 learning disabilities. So I have ADHD, which at the time was called ADD. I have a disability in written language, and I was something called other health impaired. I was considered medically fragile, and I sometimes missed school and had to make up for different different losses, not being there. Anyway, I made it through. I wasn't a great student. I probably had like a 3.3 average, and that was literally because I was making A's in a lot of my classes and D's in others. But I want everyone to take in what this young person has to say, and I want us to I want us to consider what is going on with hustle culture right now, because hustle culture is killing us. It's killing millennials. It's going to kill the younger generations. There's just so much pressure. So anyway, I'm not going to share necessarily what I commented on about my experience, but here's what this young person responded to me. They said, "I've been considered a gifted child since 6th grade. I am now in high school, and I've had mostly straight A's and the occasional AB honor roll my whole time in school. That's amazing for anyone, whether you have a learning disability or not, especially in this world. My mom checks my grades constantly. If any of my classes are below a 90, I get yelled at or told to get off my phone, because apparently that's the reason why I'm doing so bad." Okay, so I don't know how it works in every state. I know when I was in high school back in, so I went to high school from 1999 to 2003. I'm 40. I know that a 93 and above was considered an A. So in some states, a 90 and above is considered an A. So this person is basically saying if they get anything other than an A, they get in trouble. So they say, "I get yelled at or told to get off my phone." They said this got really bad when I got COVID in the 8th grade. And for a short time, I was failing one of my classes, just one of my classes, because I wasn't present for some tests. And my mom expected me to bring my grade up from a 40 back to a 90 something before the week that I got back to school was over. How the hell was I supposed to do that? ? So basically, yeah, like this person missed a test. Their average wasn't leveling out. This was just a mathematical thing. It wasn't representative of their ability as a student. They literally were not there to take a test. And so there was no grade, but there was a mathematical element that kept that average low because that number was divided and there was a 0 in there. Okay, right? And they needed time to make that up. All right, I'm going to keep going. By the end of that year, I ended up with AB honor roll. My mom said that she wouldn't let me stay home from school at all my freshman year of high school unless I needed to go to the hospital or something, even if I was sick. If it meant that my grades would stay up if it meant that my grades would stay up. She's convinced that this is what's going to keep my grades up. Okay, so this mother is convinced that her child needs to go to school every day, whether they are sick enough, unless they are sick enough to go to a hospital, which, I mean, anyway, I don't know your mom, but that's an impossible situation. You're setting this child up for the impossible. All right. So, if it meant my grades would stay up, she's convinced that this is what's going to keep my grades up. She also tells me all the time, whenever I need help on homework, that I spend a lot of time on that. You shouldn't, and then they say, you shouldn't be taking this long on this, or you should know how to do this. Why don't you listen in class? You're supposed to be smart. Quit acting like you're slow. Okay, first of all, if you're using the term slow, I don't want to speak negatively of this person's parents, but if you're using the term slow, you need to re-educate yourself. Either you have a problem with your understanding of the world and how it works, or you have a problem with empathy and see a therapist. Have somebody re-educate you, intellectually or emotionally. We don't use the term slow, and you shouldn't use the term slow to describe a child that is dealing with the world that we live in today. You didn't go to school during a pandemic, and your child doesn't mention it here. Doesn't sound like you have a learning disability, but I don't know you. Maybe you do, and you don't want to share it with your child. Anyway, so maybe you're slow. You stay on that damn phone too much. Okay, I get it. I get it. And the person says, when I literally use it maybe a few hours after school, and whenever it's required during school hours, maybe 4 to 5 hours in total, usually more on the weekends. My dog, hold on just a sec. Maybe 4 to 5 hours on the weekend in total, or maybe 4 to 5 hours, usually more on the weekends. If I have no homework and she uses it maybe double or triple that amount on Facebook or Instagram. Okay, I'm sensing that your mom is probably a millennial or a Gen X person, and we are just as guilty of phone culture as anyone else. This is a little excessive, but again, I'm not there to, I don't know. I've not seen the situation. Anyway, so this person is basically arguing that they are required to use their phone for school. So regardless of whether or not they try and separate from their phone, which is a huge thing to do, I admit it's difficult. It's difficult for me to separate not only my personal attachment to looking at photos, social media, to the addiction of, streaming things. And then there's also the element of, I had for a long time, I had work stuff on my phone. I deleted all of that. And that has really separated me from being distracted by my phone during the workday, because I don't need it unless somebody physically calls me. I don't mess with my phone. But anyway, so this child is being forced to, 1, engage with their phone because of education, and 2, separate themselves from their phone because it's considered bad, or you're, too attached or too distracted by your phone. So this is a huge part of the disconnect that is going on with phone culture, especially for young people. So anyway, she's convinced that this is what's going on to keep my grades up. She also tells me all the time. We covered that 4 to 5 hours. And this parent apparently uses it 4 to 5, 2 to 3 times as much. Her expectations for me are pretty unrealistic sometimes, especially when she can't even comprehend half the stuff I'm struggling with. I'm in 9th grade and doing all advanced honors AP, dual credit classes. And most of the time, it's not even the math problems or what I'm supposed to be learning that I'm struggling with. I usually breeze past most of the work. Sometimes I struggle on test, but it isn't too bad. That's an anxiety thing, or some people just aren't good test takers. A lot of people don't do well with time. I don't do well with time management. Anyway, here we go. The problem could be something with a simple solution, but I end up overthinking it a lot because my brain's wired that way. I overthink everything. I have a very analytical career and I overthink everything. I'm used to working on more difficult things. That's why in my papers, intellectually gifted is marked as a disability. It can be a disability. I'm just here to tell you that. And sometimes being intellectually gifted is going to be listed on your legal disability documents in school. Here in North Carolina, we have 504 plans. I'm not sure if they're called that in other states. I imagine they probably are in some. So she gets mad when I don't know the answer. It's what we were saying. It would be one thing if she were a mathematician or if she were currently studying the type of math that I'm learning. But she can't even help me with it. And yet she still gets upset at me for needing help sometimes and not knowing the answers right away. And don't get me started on the grades thing. I know several people in my school who could be given valedictorian in their senior year, but I'm just not one of them. I already might be getting AB honor roll this 9 weeks. I'm not saying I'm not going to try and get good grades, but it can't be expected of me to get high grades all the time. It just isn't realistic. Sorry, this turned into a rant. I just want to say, first of all, it's great that you're good at math. I wish I was good at math because a lot of the things I do in my career and a lot of my interests would probably be helped if I were better at math. But as a person also who has a degree in creative writing and a learning disability in written language, I understand what it's like to be passionate about something that you struggle with. It can be torture, and nobody understands that but you. Your mom is never going to understand that, ever. I'm not sure what is going on, but one day, this will be a thing of the past. Here's another thing, and this is going to be controversial. I'm not a parent. I don't have children. I don't have children in school. So, if I had to go back and tell my younger self one thing, it would be don't take those honors classes. Don't take those AP classes, because those weighted GPAs are so enticing. You think, oh, I can do this. I can, make a good grade in this course and I'll get a 5.0 instead of a 4.0. Sometimes it's better to just be in that more mainstream class. Be with the public. Be with the averagely intelligent people, because sometimes they are more emotionally intelligent and you learn more from them. You're still going to learn things. Nobody's going to keep you from learning anything that you need to know. You are going to be just as successful in those mainstream classes as you are in a AP class or an honors class. And that culture is so painful. One of my best friends in high school was in the top four people. I was in the top 40, even though our class had over 400 people, and I felt some kind of way about that. And now looking back, I'm like, oh my God, I was in the top 10% of my class and I tortured myself over that. And I kind of feel like if I had gone back and not taken those honors classes, not taken those AP classes, I would have been not only more successful, but happier. My parents would have been happier with me, but who cares? My parents, they're proud of me. I have done so much, achieved so much, and am successful in a different way. This will pass. You and your mom will hopefully come to an understanding. But I just want people out there to know, be easy on your kids. Be easy on your students, because I had some mofos of teachers. Sorry, that's a millennial thing. And just be easy on yourself. And this will pass. There's so much more ahead. There is so much more ahead. And, God, AB honor roll, like, that's amazing. I didn't even make AB honor roll. And like I said, I ended up in the top 10% of my class. You know, I had D's. I had literal D's. And it's not made any difference in who I was as a person. I've gone through struggles, but I've also had a lot of achievements. So just be you and know that in a few years, you're going to be doing things, whether it's in college or in your career, that just are going to show the world how evolved you are and intelligent. And just hold on and don't give up. And know that your mom loves you no matter what, no matter how hard she is on you.